Football. It's almost here. Hello and welcome to Break Panel Sports. I'm John, joined alongside Joel, and we are just right there. We are days away, really weeks,
We're
but it
there.
feels like days. We're right here. I mean, preseason football is in full swing. We were watching a bit of that. Obviously, training camps or the mandatory OTAs and all that fun stuff. That's over. We're playing football now, right? College football's on the way too, but we're playing NFL football right now, and it's been exciting. Joel, how are we doing?
Doing okay. I would say I am doing better than some Minnesota Vikings fans right now. I will say that.
We will definitely get to
I
that.
Yeah, if you're feeling depressed, just know you could be a Minnesota Vikings fan.
The thing
You
is, they're
could
just
be.
used to it. They're just used to anything that comes their way. They're just used to it.
That's so sad.
It
We will
doesn't,
get to that,
yeah.
but I just had to say that. That is very sad.
Ever since Gary Anderson, every Minnesota fan has become numb in general. Ever since that, I mean, the Vikings and Falcons are forever connected now,
That's so
and
sad.
they continue to be. They're just always going to be connected one way or another. And this is another reason, another way they've been connected. Now they have your quarterback, Minnesota. Uh, because Kirk didn't want to come back. We'll get to that though. We do have a big one to talk about, and Joel, this situation apparently has been rattling in your brain for a very long time. You have been very much into this situation with Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers. You had a dream about this situation, Joel, or
Yeah,
thought you had a dream.
I texted you about it. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, so this morning it was like, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock, something like that. And I remember waking up, looking at my phone, and I saw a tweet from what I thought was Adam Schefter. And I kept looking at it because I'm like, there's nothing spelled wrong. It does say Adam Schefter. And it says, breaking news, Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers have agreed on a 4-year extension. It was 4 years, $130 million. And immediately I did the math on that and it was like 130 divided by. And then I saw it was like 32, and I'm like, wait, there's no way they just made him the highest paid wide receiver in the league. There's no way they did that. There's absolutely no way they did that. And then I forgot. Like I went back to sleep, or I texted you, and I was just like, that that was not true, right? Like there's no way. There's
Yeah,
absolutely no way that they did that.
yeah, I was grabbing breakfast at the net. You probably texted me about nine something in the morning, and you said, "Did Brandon Ayuk get traded or get a contract?" And I'm like, "No." I checked my phone. I actually went back. I went to on Twitter and I said, let me check what happened. And then I remember seeing at Adam Schefter FR tweet out that fake
Yeah.
tweet that some people also reposted. He got him. He got people pretty good.
The thing was, I looked. The first thing I did was I looked on Instagram, and I'm looking for
Can't do
like
that.
Bleacher Report. I'm looking at like JPA football. I don't know if you know. I'm looking at all
Yeah,
these
you're
things, and I'm like, no one's talking about it. What?
right.
No one.
The graphic
I'm
is
like,
usually ready to go.
yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe it's because he posted it at like 5 in the morning. Maybe that's it. But I'm like, no. What the? I'm like, no one else is talking about it. But
Right.
Adam Schefter reported it, and yeah,
That's fair.
I got duped. I got duped.
It's
That's what
okay.
happened.
It's okay, Joel. It's okay, Joel. You could do. I've had to solve a few deeps of yours,
Yeah.
over the years, but
But
for the
yeah, go ahead.
football, right? For the football, Brandon Ayuk has been in a constant contract debacle with. I just sound like it for Boston. Constant contract debacle with the San Francisco 49ers, and there was a trade agreed to potentially by the Cleveland Browns and Amari Cooper, a second round pick, and some extra fun stuff over there for Brandon Ayuk. But Brandon Ayuk said, I don't want to play for Cleveland. So Ayuk has been, again, going back and forth, social media, saying, I don't want to be here, get me out of here, basically. And there was a trade in place. He didn't want to go there. So it seems that the Pittsburgh Steelers are now the front runners to go get Brandon Ayuk, which means that they have to give him a contract, which is a lot of money. He wants a big bag. The Niners have a lot of really good players, so they don't want to sign a receiver to that much money. And Brandon Ayuk has been acting like he's Justin Jefferson. It's been really funny, Joel. This has been a fun situation to follow, I will say.
It's it's a it's a dumb situation. I'm all for go get your money. I'm all
Yes.
for that. I'm always all for that. Whereas a situation where it's like if you know you can go to a somewhat still good team but get paid way more, go there. You know? Never I'm not against that. My problem with this, the way that this has been the way the situation has been handled, okay? first of all, Cleveland's not a bad team. Everyone's gonna act like they're really not. And I don't know if it was Cleveland or the Patriots. I might have been the Patriots, but they were about to make him like one of the highest paid receivers in the league. The
Yes.
deal was done. No, it's too cold in Cleveland. No, it's too cold in Foxborough. No, it's too. I'm like, maybe like listen, I don't want to be talking about like skill wise or whatever, but there's no way he is that good to be making this much demands. There's no way. Me, I would look at this as the 49ers perspective and be like, you know what? I'm trading you, and if you don't like it, oh well. I mean, like
You gotta go.
I don't know what else you want me to say. You're not I don't want you to be our problem anymore. But clearly they don't feel that way. They're still trying to renegotiate a deal. That's why the trade to the Steelers has not happened yet. Me personally, I think the Steelers are the only horse in this race for Brandon Aiyuk. Because I thought, here's the thing. You look at some teams like the Chargers, where it's like, oh, they traded all the wide receivers. It would make sense for them to go get Brandon Aiyuk. Or the Washington Commanders. You have Jaden Daniels. It would make sense. Go trade for Aiyuk. It's just a hassle. When I just look at him like it's just a Brandon Aiyuk right now. What you are showing to me these past few months, you are a lot to deal with. You are a lot
Right.
to deal with, and I just don't want to deal with you. I really don't want to deal. And I don't feel like giving up a bunch of picks and maybe a good player because 49ers already said if we're trading Brandon Aiyuk, we need a receiver in this deal. We need one.
Yep.
We need a receiver. So I don't feel like giving up a receiver and giving a bunch of picks for a guy who's probably not going to be happy here. I don't really want to do that. So I like Brandon Aiyuk. I like him as a player. I just think the situation has been like really like blown out of proportion. I feel like this could have been dealt with months ago. I do think some blame is on the 49ers that they were trying to keep him for a long time. And it's like, listen, if he wanted to get traded, why didn't you just trade him before the draft? They even drafted a wide receiver that they were like content with, like, okay, we're probably going to have to trade him. Why didn't you trade him before the draft? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But now there may be a change of heart. Maybe they're going to give him a new contract. I don't know. But the whole situation has been ridiculous to me.
I just have a quick question that I want to get back in there. Joel, is he a top 15 receiver in the NFL? The fact that you even had to think about that.
I would struggle. I would struggle with that.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and name 15 receivers, but you probably could maybe do it.
He's not top 10. I can tell you that right now. There's no way he's top 10. Top 15, I'd be like, I have to think about it, but I don't know.
And you would consider maybe Mike Evans around his tier of receiver in terms of caliber of player, age-wise is age-wise.
Yeah,
but I think in terms of money I'd pay him, I'd probably base him around Mike Evans. I'd base him around there. And I love Mike Evans. I'm a big Mike Evans fan. He's been catching dimes from Baker. So obviously I support Mike Evans. But it's always interesting to see players do this, right? We've seen, I believe, some other players, a lot of running backs have had holdouts that of contracts, and you didn't do enough to be holding out the way you're holding out.
Right.
Aiyuk is probably one of the best route runners in the NFL. He's a great receiver. I'm not going to try to diminish his talent or anything like that. He's a great receiver that deserves a pretty good payday, a pretty solid payday.
But top 5?
He's not a top 5 receiver. I mean, you look at Justin Jefferson, you look at Jamar Chase, you look at CeeDee Lamb, 2 guys who are going to get paid pretty soon, and just whoever else you want to name, even Devontae Adams right now. And then you look at Brandon Aiyuk, and there's no discussion over who deserves more money, over who deserves to get a big extension. So for Aiyuk, sure, like you said, I'm all for getting your money. I probably support that more than most people. But he's done so much when it comes to this contract that if I'm a team that is a contender, I'm a contender, right? Because that's probably where he wants to go. Ideally, that's where all these players, where they want to go. They want to find this perfect a boon of a situation where they can get their money and be on a championship team, which a lot of the time just isn't possible. It's like wanting just the perfect everything. You can't have the perfect everything. It's like wanting the $1 million house in your hometown. A lot of the time we don't come from hometowns with $1 million houses, but that's what he wants. He doesn't want to play in Cleveland. Also, that Amari Cooper trade would have been phenomenal for the Niners. They should.
Oh, that would have been phenomenal. Are you kidding me?
They should have just sent them off and called it a day.
Would have been a great
So
trade.
it would have been great. But you have to realize how big your britches are. And Aiyuk's britches are not enough to be asking for money the way he is, to be posting on social media the way he is. I think the Niners can lose Brandon Aiyuk and maybe even become a better team, depending on how Ricky Pearsall is and where they can allocate that money. So for Aiyuk as well, if I'm a championship team, though, I don't want to deal with any of this. I don't want to mess with this. I don't want to give this guy
Yeah.
a ton of, I don't want to give, I'm an owner. I don't want to give this guy all my money. I don't want to give this guy $25-30 million a year, whatever it is. I can't do it, Joel. I can't do. I don't. He's ruining his reputation. He's tarnished.
Like you said, I like him. I think he's a good receiver. I
I
think
think
he's
he's
fine.
underrated at the same
Like,
time that I think he's overrating himself.
I'm a Giants fan. If I found out Brandon Aiyuk was traded to the Giants, I would be on top of the roof. I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy with his move. But then again, you're probably gonna have to give him what, like $30 million a year?
It's a lot of money.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? No way am I giving him anywhere close to that kind of money. I'm not doing it. And if that's really what he wants to do, what you should be doing, at least for me, this is how I see it. Maybe NFL players see it a different way. Look at the situation. Look at the situation you're in right now. You're with the San Francisco 49ers. You just came off a Super Bowl appearance. Go do what you did again.
You're probably going back.
I understand injuries are a thing, but like if you're that confident in yourself, you might actually get what you deserve next offseason from some team that's like, you know what? He's right. He's really good. Let's go get this guy. Let's go get this guy a contract. Maybe the 49ers will be saying that. Who knows? But I feel like there's a lot of money being left off the table that you're just trying to like bet on yourself, where I'm just like, I don't think you're that type of player to be betting on yourself in this situation. I think the 49ers right now are offering him more money than any team would even dare look at.
Right.
And he's saying no.
This is also the team. It's the team that drafted you. You stuck it out for some interesting days. You made a Super Bowl. I just don't get it. I don't get it. What did the Niners do to him? I don't get it.
The other thing, I'm not trying to like hate on the city of Pittsburgh. I'm not trying to hate on that. All I'm saying is you're in San Francisco, California. You really want to do all this effort to leave San Francisco to go to Pittsburgh? Do you really want to do that?
Cleveland was not good enough.
Like Cleveland, Cleveland was too cold. New England too cold. But you want to go to Pittsburgh? I'm like,
it's worse over there, dude.
You're in San Francisco. Why are you complaining?
Sunny San Fran. You got Brock Purdy throwing you darts.
You're on a great team.
You're on the best team in the NFC.
What are you doing, man?
You got drafted to a perfect situation. How much money is being left off the table, because this is how this usually works.
Right now, I think
he finishes the contract and someone gives him a bag in the offseason. He becomes a mid-tier receiver for the rest of his career, makes a ton of money, and calls it a day, a la Mike Wallace.
I think if he stays with the 49ers this year, I believe he gets 14 mil. I could be give or take $1 million, but I'm pretty sure it's 14 that he gets.
So what, I'm like, getting traded to a team gets you an extra couple bucks, and you at least get your locked in contract. I guess.
I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand it, but like some people are acting like he's gonna go broke. He's getting $14 million here. Okay, let's relax for a second. He's getting $14 million. If
you give me $14 million right now,
I'll go play on the Panthers. I'll play on the worst team in the league.
You give me $14 million, well, this podcast is canceled, and I'm living in some island.
I'm not even gonna. You won't even hear from me.
Yeah, I won't hear from you. If you don't hear from me, there will be signs. There will be signs.
I won't tell you.
I won't tell you, but there will be signs. Random island near Bermuda has been purchased for $5 billion. Yeah, that was me, buddy.
Wonder how that happened.
That was me, buddy.
I wonder who did that.
I'm out here clanging coconuts together like I'm in Monty Python. Okay, that's what we're at. How do you think this ends? That's the big question.
Oh man, you know what? Okay, even though it was a troll, when I saw that the fake tweet that he re-signed with the 49ers,
yeah, it made sense.
My facial expression didn't really change, because I'm like, as he should.
Yeah,
like stay with the Niners. What are you doing?
Just end it.
I feel like if this, first of all, the trade is done with Pittsburgh. Right now, it's done. They just need to sign off on the deal. San Francisco's not signing off because they're saying, okay, let me try one more time to get a contract done. It's been what, 2 days, 3 days?
Something
They're
like
still
that. Yeah.
talking. So don't tell me Brandon Aiyuk doesn't want to stay in San Francisco. He wants to stay there. It's just, but the other thing is going on it was a podcast that he went on and said like, oh, I'm wondering what I could do with Jaden Daniels. I'm wondering what I could do in Pittsburgh. Maybe it's just me. If I'm in the San Francisco 49ers, it's like, F you. You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
I see that, like, you're supposed to be my teammate, you're not showing up to practice, and you're already
Right.
talking about like, oh, I want to go play with this team. I
If
hope
I'm
they
Brock,
trade you. It's
if
like,
I'm
I
Brock,
hope yeah, it's like, what? Dude, you're in such a good situation and you want to leave. I'll go to the front office right now and beg for them to trade you. If they trade you for a
yes.
fifth, I'd be like, we win the deal because
Right.
I don't want to deal with you
Yeah,
at
I want
all
to play with
now.
Jaden Daniels. I want to play with who you. Listen, I've said some things
Bingo.
about. I've said whatever about Brock Purdy, but I wouldn't mind having him as my quarterback, especially when he just won. We just made the Super Bowl.
You want to go to Washington? Go ahead.
Well, yeah,
Go.
go there. Go to
Go to
Washington. We will never have to worry about you in any game or the
You'll
playoffs
never
ever
hear from him
again.
again.
We'll never see you in the playoffs. You will not have to. We'll go win an NFC Championship again. You do not have to worry about Brandon Aiyuk.
You'll never hear from him again if he goes to Washington.
Right. Now, Joel, a team that probably will not win an NFC Championship, the Atlanta Falcons. They made a couple pretty good moves, I will say, as someone who thinks that they're not going to win the division, but we can get there. Matthew Judon has been traded from the New England Patriots to the Atlanta Falcons, and Justin Simmons signed there. We're going to focus on Judon because a third-round pick for a great defensive lineman felt like a little cheap to me, Joel. I don't know what you think about that.
I don't think it's cheap at all. I mean, here's the thing. A third round pick for Judon, first of all, the reason why he was looking to get traded was because of a contract issue.
Yeah.
That is why he was looking to get traded. He wanted to get moved. And if you're trading for a guy, we'll get to this later, but if you're trading for a guy, you should want to extend him.
Yeah.
That should be the case.
A lot of guys don't want to extend Aiyuk, I think.
The Falcons clearly like Matt Judon, and they clearly
like
looking at their team right now and saying, hey, look, our defense could use some help. We could acknowledge that. Let's go get a guy who's not very happy in New England, and let's go sign another dude who's for some reason still a free agent. I thought he was an all-pro safety, but for some reason he was still a free agent.
I don't get it.
And yeah, it's a weird thing with safeties, and I don't know how the age thing works with them.
It's so random.
Stephon Gilmore's still a free agent, just so you know. That's insane to me.
Washington, make a phone call.
Come on. But looking at the Falcons' perspective, I like it mainly because they are in such a weak division. Yeah, that's why I like this move. I like this move because I look at them and I'm like, okay, now you got someone to compete against someone like, the Saints. Now you got someone to compete against, with the Panthers and the Bucks. You can compete with that. I think you can. Looking at the Falcons right now, especially with Kirk, all the moves that they made this year, it's like we always had this debate, especially when you look at the draft of them getting Michael Penix. Are you trying to win now? Are they trying to prepare for the future? I think now they're trying to do a little bit of both, where it's like, I think we're good enough to win our division. Then we move on and see what this team looks like.
Just get in. Just get into the dance.
We want to get involved. We want to get involved somehow. If we can look at ourselves and be like, hey, look, we are a playoff team. If you put that title of we are a playoff team, the Atlanta Falcons it's going to drive in so much free agents. It's going to drive in so many free agents where people are going to look at the Falcons and say, that's a destination I probably want to go to. That's going to be one of those places where you see them making a big move along the line, down the line. I mean, that they trade for someone crazy because they actually want to go to the Falcons to compete. They are not at that point right now, but they could be in the future. That's why I like this move.
Especially if maybe Penix comes in a couple games here and there. Kirk might be.
Yeah, who knows?
And you see Penix play well. You say, I want to be a part of that future as well.
Right.
I drafted Penix in one of my dynasty leagues. Okay.
Nice.
I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the Falcons. I think I saw this more as I think this was a layup for the Falcons. Matt Judon is phenomenal at what he does.
Right.
But I was more the page, obviously contract situations and everything around that. He probably didn't want to be there. But my favorite genre of GM is the one that drafts a quarterback with the top 3 pick and then proceeds to make his team worse. That's my favorite genre of GM. It's my favorite. I love it so much. I love it so much. We've seen it time and time again. Every single time. Yes, let's trade our star defensive tackle when our quarterback needs a defense. Good job, Bucko. Good job. We'll see how that turns out. I'm sure it wasn't going to work out in that situation, but you just hope as a Patriots fan that that doesn't start a trend where, oh yeah, we can just not be good defensively this year. Drake will figure it out. Anytime you just let a quarterback just kind of figure it out, Josh Rosen happens. A lot of
Ugh,
other guys happen. You have to give these guys good situations. It's like it's why I love what the Bears are doing. They've waited
right,
to really get their quarterback until they had a great team together. Minnesota, who we'll talk about, is kind of in between that, I think. The Broncos, not in between that. Jaden Daniels, not really in a similar situation as well. These quarterbacks aren't in good situations, these
not a lot of
rookies.
them are.
They really aren't. And I think if you at least gave Drake May a defense, okay, maybe he'll figure it out. But now he's losing defensive players. The Falcons, back to them, they're doing great. I think the Falcons are I actually think this is going to turn out so well for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if it's going to lead to a Super Bowl, but for a team that was basically in the dumpster of the NFC South since they won that
Right,
Super Bowl, I mean, this was a team with Matt Ryan that was making the playoffs every single year, was in the NFC Championship game against the 49ers before that as well. They had a great franchise going, and they were a couple good decisions away from beating Tom Brady. And
right.
I don't want to nail that hammer again, but I will.
28-3.
28 to
28-3.
3
28-3,
and
bro.
28 to 3. You were
Now,
that close. But the
that,
way you get close again is by getting good football players, and they're doing that.
I the dark days of the Atlanta Falcons were really sad when you see guys, Taylor Heineke.
Yep.
They remember when Marcus Mariota started?
Yep. Remember
He
Desmond
started
Ritter?
like a Desmond Ritter.
Yeah.
Hold on, Felipe Franks,
Felipe.
Josh Rosen.
Yep.
Um, we said Desmond Ritter,
I
right?
did. I made sure to mention the
But
Cincinnati
it's
legend.
just, but that is just like really, really sad, man.
Yeah, it's been tough.
It's just, I
It's been
remember
tough.
when they drafted Desmond Ritter, and I was like, wow, that's the future of the Falcons right there. That's crazy. And then it's just like, wow, he's not good.
He's just not. He's just not that good at football.
I'm like, oh, this is sad. Actually, this is
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah. Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ritter again, and then Taylor Heineke.
And then I think there was one game where like Josh Rosen and Felipe Franks both played like some snaps or whatever, and they both threw
Maybe
picks.
it looks like they didn't. They never started a game, but I don't. That might have been a preseason. I think I kind of remember that though. Felipe Franks, what a dog.
What a
Um,
dog.
I love
Tight
what they're
end now,
doing.
I think.
I love Atlanta right now, and I think you're giving Michael Penix a lot of really good football players.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody's going to complain about that. Um, Shout out to the Falcons. I still think the Bucks win it this year, though. The NFC
I
South.
still think so too.
I love what they. I really love what they did in the draft. I love what they did in the draft. I love what they have done defensively. Underrated defense, I think, in Tampa Bay. Atlanta's trying to build something similar. I think the Bucks also have a great offensive line. That's. I think the Bucks as a whole are just underrated. They're just kind of slept. You're going to get Baker in year two after he just made the playoffs too, and that more comfortable with the offense. Obviously, new coordinator and everything,
That's
but
gonna be
just more
sick.
comfortable with Tampa as a whole. I think that's the battle. That's a battle I'm going to love to watch. Bucks Falcons. If you didn't plan on tuning into Bucks Falcons games this year, tune in. They're going to be battles in the NFC South, and the Saints maybe it might have something to say too if Spencer Rattler gets in there.
Hey, who knows?
I just said that with a straight face, and I'm disgusted at myself.
Spencer Rattler, yeah,
Spencer
former
Rattler,
Sooner.
former Sooner, what a dog. Joel, Hassan Reddick. Speaking of contract disputes, right? Kind of getting back on that horse. We want to take a break from the contract disputes to talk about actual football. Now we're back on Hassan Reddick getting traded to the Jets. Okay, he got traded he got out of Philly. Philly didn't want to pay him his money. He got out. He escaped Philadelphia. Congratulations. Go up 95. You're in East Rutherford, New Jersey now. He's demanded another trade, Joel. He
This whole
demanded another trade.
situation, this whole situation is so stupid.
I don't even like talking about it.
It's so stupid. The whole situation. Okay, so as you said, Hassan Reddick,
Yeah.
not happy in Philadelphia, wants a
No.
new contract.
Yes.
The New York Jets say, hey, we'll trade for Hassan Reddick. They approve the deal. They say, yeah, you know what? Let's go to the Jets. They'll give me a new contract. Bang,
Yep.
done, over. Approved of the trade, done. He's there in April.
Let's ride.
Goes to press conference with the New York Jets. I'm very happy to be here. I'm gonna give it all. I'm gonna give it my all. I'm gonna give the city of New York my all. They don't hear from him for like a while. It was weird.
Yep.
And
ghost.
He's saying, I want a new contract. No, the whole reason why I wanted to get traded was I want a contract. The Jets saying, let's make this clear. We're not negotiating anything until you get here because you haven't shown up to training camp. We're not negotiating anything until you show up here. Hassan Reddick looks and goes, trade me. Like, what?
Trade me.
That is ridiculous. I'm sorry. But like, I've read a little bit about the situation, and I genuinely don't think it's that everyone's looking at it through the perspective of, oh, New York just doesn't want to pay him. New York doesn't want to pay him. I understand that them having no urgency to go pay the guy that you just traded for, that's kind of weird. I understand that. What I have found weird that no one really talked about was that the Jets asked permission from the Eagles when Hassan Reddick was still on the Eagles, saying, hey, can we talk to Hassan Reddick? They said, yes, go ahead. You can go talk to Hassan Reddick, go talk to his agent. They talked. I don't know what they talked about, whatever it was,
not contracts.
It wasn't contracts because they approved of the deal. They said, yes, I want to go to New York. They said, okay, good. And now it's like, wait, you didn't get a contract? Why would you approve the deal if you didn't lock down that contract? Why would you waste your time? You just wasted like 4 months going to the Jets who never promised you we're going to give you a deal. That part is dumb. But also, Jets, why would you trade for him if you weren't going to give him a contract?
What are we doing?
I think both sides are very stupid in this scenario. I think like people are giving a lot of hate to the Jets. I think you're both kind of like, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous. It's very dumb.
The thing about relationships, Joel, is communication is the most important factor in succeeding in those relationships. And most of the time, it's a mutual disregarding of communication as to why these awful, nasty breakups can happen. And it seems that they just, like you said, that meeting, they were saying, we're excited to have you on the field. We're excited to have you sacking Josh Allen, right? Hyping him up.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't talk about the money because if you looked me in my face and said, pay Hassan Reddick $20 to $25 million, I'd probably tell you no. I'd probably tell you
not.
No. I like Hassan Reddick. I think he's a 16 to $19 million kind of guy. I think once you start hitting the twos, start hitting the twos, it's a little too much.
Like, I don't know.
Especially when you're the Jets. I mean, you got the thing is, my thing also with the Jets, I think what the Jets thought was going to happen was he was just going to play out whatever he had, and we'll figure out contracts later. But no,
are you not in the loop? Like, are you not? Did you not
Aiyuk,
see why he just?
You see what Aiyuk just did? That's been happening, right? That happened over there. Yeah. Okay.
Did you not see why he wanted to leave the Eagles in the first place?
Yes, you set up a conversation. Now, I will respect Joe Douglas for standing on business and saying, saying, we're not doing this. You need to show up, buddy. But this is, I mean,
dumb.
So here's what happened, right? Here's what happened, right? I think the Jets had a really good draft. Jets had a phenomenal draft. Okay,
right.
Boom, awesome. Rodgers back healthy. Boom, ayahuasca, awesome. We're back. Rodgers looks good in camp. He's slinging darts. Okay, cool. And then the Jets, okay, we're looking good. Let's go get a pass rusher. Jet fans rejoice. And now they're stuck in the most petty thing in all of football. This is the Jets. This is who you are, New York Jets. You do this stuff every season.
Oh my God.
This is on you. I forget it. I don't care anymore. This is on the Jets. I'm tired of this stuff. If I'm a Jet fan, I would have sold my jersey. I would have sold my season tickets. You traded for a guy that you knew was going to want money. How do you not know he's going to want money? You traded for him.
Every year.
You wanted him. You talked to him. You sat down, had a conversation with the guy.
Typical Jets. Oh my God.
And now you don't want to pay him. You knew what he wanted.
Even when they're a good team, they still make these stupid mistakes.
Hassan Reddick's a great player. Is he not a Super Bowl MVP? Or he's up there. He was up there. He was almost one.
He was up there.
He
Yeah.
was up there. Who won that? Who won that MVP? My goodness. I think Nick Foles might have got it, but my goodness. He was almost.
I
They won another one. Who won the Chiefs Eagles Super Bowl MVP?
well, the Chiefs won that Super Bowl, right?
My brain is not working, Joel,
It's
because
the
I'm
Jets,
tired of
man.
these Jets.
It's
I
the
forgot the
Jets.
Eagles lost the
It's
Super Bowl.
it's the Jets, man. It's the Jets.
No, that's what I remember. I think if the Eagles had won that game, it was going to be Hassan Reddick. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yes,
Reddick was doing
good,
okay.
awesome, nice. The Jets. I can't with the Jets.
Oh my God.
I'm not even a Jet fan.
They
Why
take
did you
years
trade for
off my
Reddick? They take years off my
off
life, and I don't even like them.
I'm not even a fan of this team.
What did they trade for Hassan Reddick, by the way? I need to look this up. What did they
It was
trade
like
for him?
wasn't it like a fifth or like something?
What did you give up
I,
for Hassan Reddick? The Eagles had traded Hassan Reddick to the Jets. Thank you, Eagles.com. Thank you. No, Joel!
what was it?
A 2026 third-round pick.
Oh, they
That
got
could
a
become-
third for him?
Wait! There's more! That can become a second-round pick if specific terms are met.
Howie Roseman's the best GM in the league.
I'd imagine it snaps.
Howie Roseman's the best GM in the league.
The Jets traded a second-round pick for a guy that just asked for a trade and didn't even show up to
Second round-
camp, Joel.
Second round picks are starters in this league, man. They're
That's
starters.
Adonai Mitchell.
Those guys are starters. Are you
Starters.
kidding me?
Stars. You know what that is? That's Brandon Aiyuk.
That's you traded a guy who's probably going to be very good for a guy who doesn't even want to play for you. Why would you?
He wants a trade. I've never seen this before where a guy wants a trade from the team that traded for him. Usually when you get traded for, that means the team wants you, right? They want you there.
They want to keep you.
There's something special in their heart of hearts because they want you. And the Jets said, we don't really want you like that, though.
It's oh my God.
What are we
this
doing?
is
New York, you have commitment issues. You have commitment issues, New York.
it's so sad. It's so sad. You actually the thing is like only the Jets usually the Jets miss out on like this type of talent. Usually that's what happens. This time they actually went out and acquired him.
Yes.
They went out. He was on the roster.
Yep.
You had him. You had him. Nah, trade me. You don't want to give me the contract. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you getting?
So, Jets, you traded for Hassan Reddick. Yep. Then you must want to give him a contract. Yep.
Yeah.
Then sign him. That's not my guy.
That's not my guy.
Oh my
Legendary
gosh.
pool.
Patrick Starr. We were talking about that the other day.
But here's the other thing too. That I don't think a lot of people realize. They lost Bryce Huff to the Eagles.
Yes.
They lost. What was it? Carl Lawson, I believe. I forgot. I think he went to Dallas or something.
He's out of there.
Yeah, he's out of there. But the thing is, they lost pieces on the defense.
Yes.
That piece went and signed with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
And the piece that you went to go acquire from the Philadelphia Eagles, they're like, okay, sure, take him. Well, give us a third round pick that could be a second. Okay, done. Turns out, oh, by the way, he may not even want to play for you. Bye. He may not even want to
Bye. Howie Roseman, you are what a guy.
He's such a genius. Oh
Howie.
my God.
Howie, you need to, that's awesome. That's
He's
awesome.
so good.
I'm done. I'm done with that. Let's move on. We got JJ to talk about. Oh my, that was just tough. Joel. So I originally said before we went off and had to start a new Zoom meeting because Zoom only allows you 40 minutes.
Exactly.
So we just start new Zoom meetings to do our show. I said before we're going to talk about JJ McCarthy and his injury. I think we should end on that because I realized that I'm something else was getting me teed off today.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Jerry Jones. His name is Jerry Jones, and I'm not bringing up his past. And by saying that, I am bringing it up. Okay.
What do you do, John?
Google it. Google where he was. Google what he's been up to. But Jerry Jones, a respected owner, right? I'm more just talking about his history with the Dallas Cowboys. Okay. What he's done as the GM. And I've said on this show, I think it's time for Jerry to step down and maybe take more of a backseat and let someone else manage the football.
And why is that?
On the field. Joel.
If you have,
Joel, if you have the third best receiver, I personally think the second best receiver in the entire National Football League.
Would
you have urgency to sign him?
Kinda, yeah, I
I'd
would.
be pretty. I'd be running to the phone to call his reps. I'd be.
See,
I'd have him on speed dial. I would have put a blank check on his front door. This is
we were
CeeDee Lamb.
we were just talking about Brandon Aiyuk not being a. This is one of those situations, bro. I don't care if it's over 30 million a year. Give it to him. What are we doing?
Whatever Justin Jefferson got.
Give him You might have to give him more, and I don't care. I'd give him more.
Sure. So, okay, a few days ago, Jerry Jones said prior to their preseason game, he said, I have no urgency to get an extension worked out with CeeDee Lamb. And then the next day, he said in a pregame interview, I think I got in trouble when I said we're not urgent about CD. And then he said his clarification was, no one appreciates CD being on the field more than I do. You know what Dak Prescott said? Dak Prescott said, I have urgency to sign CD Lamb. He said that, by the way. He said, you've got to use your head. Jerry Jones said, you've got to use your head when you expose key players. We know what CD can do. He worked out with Dak, so he wouldn't have him in there. Him being on training camp was not because of his contract. You know what CD Lamb said? And I love CD Lamb. He's one of the funniest guys without saying a word. He just tweeted, LOL.
LOL. Yeah.
Because that is all you can do when Jerry Jones does Jerry Jones things.
Let me tell you right now, I don't care where he goes, but like if the Dallas Cowboys lose CeeDee Lamb, if they lose CeeDee Lamb, oh, they're done. I'm sorry, they're done.
Well, if they lose CeeDee Lamb, I just the thought of that made me fume. Because
they're done.
If they lose CeeDee Lamb, this will be the best podcast episode of all time.
They are so done if they lose CeeDee Lamb.
If they did that, I would have I don't know. I would be doing.
If you told me, if you told me like a year ago, I'd be like, "Oh, you're funny. That's a dream." But now it's like, don't tell me you actually don't want to resign him. Yep. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
A top 3 receiver in the NFL last year, fantasy-wise, was the #1 wide receiver in fantasy football. He has been the Dallas Cowboys. He's the best player on the team outside of like Micah Parsons. Okay, yeah. He's literally one of the best players in the NFL.
Yeah,
you don't want to resign him?
No, not. What? We're taking our time. We're taking our time.
What? We're taking our time. Taking our time. It's his last year. What do you mean taking our time? The season starts in like a few weeks. Does it not? What are we doing?
It's right around the corner.
What are we doing? This is not something to think about. Here's the thing. I'm a Giants fan. Okay. Yes. I say take your time. Take all the time you need. Take all the time. Take all the time you need. But as a football fan, it's like you have one of the best players in football on your team.
Yep.
And he wants to stay there. He actually likes it in Dallas. You got no urgency. This is the same team that lost they lost in the first round to the Green Bay Packers, John. Yep. They were one of the best teams in football, and he
wants to come back to it.
And he wants to come back.
He wants to come back.
There's a realistic chance
back to that.
There's a realistic chance that the Cowboys might lose Dak Prescott. CeeDee Lamb said, I don't care. I still want to be a Cowboy. He wants to be on this team. And you're like, well, I have to think about what's there to think about. What are you talking about? If they lose CeeDee Lamb, if CeeDee Lamb gets I don't care where he gets traded to or signs wherever.
Whatever.
If he leaves the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones needs to go. Mike McCarthy needs to go. I want this team gutted. I want Dak Prescott out of here. I want everyone gone.
If that happens, I will sit here today and I will advocate them to move to London.
They can't be here, man. That is insane. Oh my God, that is so bad. That is just so bad.
He's the best route runner in the league by a good margin.
Oh my God.
Have you seen some of the catches this guy can make? He's the best rack receiver in the league right now.
Oh, for sure.
That's his best trait. what was also funny about CeeDee Lamb being such a good rack player? His first year, they didn't get him the ball in open space. They had to figure that out.
Right.
When I watched the first year of them using I get he's a rookie. When I watched the first year of them using CeeDee Lamb, I said, "Oh, you didn't watch him play, did you? You didn't watch him break 5 tackles against Texas, did you?"
I remember when he got drafted. I remember when I saw CeeDee Lamb was still on the board.
Yes.
I saw that the Dallas Cowboys were gonna make the pick. I'm like, no. I was so mad because I'm like,
no.
I was so mad because I'm like, he's going to be one of the best receivers in this league, probably. Yep. And of course, now it's like, oh my, he's one of the best receivers in the league. Exactly what we thought he was going to be.
Yep.
One of the best receivers in the league. And now you don't want to resign it. Now you're thinking about resign. You're hesitant to resign him. There's no urgency to resign him.
No.
You need to go. This team, I don't know. Insane.
Jerry Jones. Insane. I'm. If I was ever a Cowboys fan, I don't know what I'd do. I would have quit a long time ago. CeeDee Lamb, an Oklahoma guy, got drafted to the local team, basically, which is the Dallas Cowboys. Most Oklahoma fans are Dallas Cowboy fans. That's the one thing OU and Texas fans share, is being Cowboy fans. It's a perfect match when you look at it.
You know the things I would do as a Giants fan to get a player like CeeDee Lamb? Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness, you would, yeah, you do everything.
I would do everything in my power to make sure. I don't care how many first-round picks we have to trade. This is
all of them.
Best receivers in the league.
All of them. Yeah, but you have the consolation prize of Malik Neighbors. Okay.
Hey, who knows? He might be good. You never know.
He could be good, but he's not CeeDee Lamb.
No, I don't.
He got drafted. He got drafted like he was CeeDee Lamb. A very high pick for a receiver.
You never know. You never know.
You never know. But we do know. We do know, Joel.
Mm-hmm.
You got one-on-one open space. And a CeeDee Lamb against, well, anybody who's winning the rep.
Do you have to think twice about it?
No, I didn't want you to answer that question.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
Joel, I don't know what to do with Jerry Jones. It's time. I've said it's time, and it's a respectful time because he's Jerry. When I say it's time for Jerry Jones, I don't want it to come off like he has never done anything great.
Right.
This guy knows how to win. This guy, I guess, used to know how to win Super Bowls. He made some of the most classic moves in football history. Without Jerry Jones, there is no NFL as we know it today. Because of how good the Dallas Cowboys were, their dynasty, and everything.
But the future is now, old man. I'm sorry.
It's now. Yeah. Somebody. Because they haven't made the NFC Championship game since 1995.
Oh my God.
1995. Joel, I am a 23-year-old man. You know where I was in 1995?
Nowhere.
I wasn't a thought.
Nowhere.
Whatever ended up becoming me wasn't even on this planet yet. And the Dallas Cowboys had not made an NFC Championship game. 1995. It's 30 years ago. It's about to be. Or I guess it already is, right?
Somewhat, yeah. Yeah.
Well, what's 2025 minus 1995? Let's do some math, Dallas Cowboy fans. It's 30 years. It's about to be 30 years since Dallas Cowboys have made the NFC Championship game. Yeah.
Sad.
What else is actually sad? JJ McCarthy out for the year with a torn meniscus. We'll move on to that. We'll wrap things up here. JJ McCarthy torn meniscus, and I want to start off. I know that if you've listened to some of the past episodes, I'm very critical of JJ McCarthy. The last thing I want to see is a guy tear his meniscus. I mean, I thought I actually was starting to turn a corner on JJ McCarthy after watching him play in a preseason game. He played pretty well. He played really well in that preseason game. And out of nowhere, we get a notification toward, he's going to get his meniscus checked out. Oh my goodness. And he's out for the season. I mean, this is more about Minnesota. I think JJ McCarthy's going to come back and be okay. And we'll see how he plays. And if anything, for a young quarterback, it can be a blessing in disguise because you get to sit for a year and watch everything and be a part of this team. Obviously, tearing a meniscus is a tough thing to come back from, but if you can come back from it and be okay, we'll see how it affects his mobility next year. Getting to sit might actually be something he can take advantage of, which might be okay. And this team needs to add some pieces too, so we'll see. But he's out for the year. It's tough. It's tough, Joel. What are your? Yeah.
I have a little bit of a personal thing with this, only because as you know, we recently had our fantasy dynasty league, our rookie draft, right?
Yes.
And I traded. I had the number one. I have the number 2 pick. I traded down and picked JJ McCarthy. McCarthy, sorry. The reason why I made this trade to get JJ McCarthy because in my head I was saying, well, he doesn't have to play this year. He's probably not going to play this year. I
Right.
could, I could have him on the roster and just start him next year.
It's dynasty.
Then I see it's a dynasty league, so I see the meniscus tear, and I'm like, okay, well now I definitely have to do that. But here's the thing, and I think the Vikings are kind of in a similar situation where it's like, you weren't gonna play him anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know a meniscus tear sucks, and I know that you don't want your rookie quarterback to get injured. I understand
it's a tough recovery. It's a really tough recovery. Derrick Rose had one of those. Yeah, it's a tough recovery.
It's a tough recovery, but like I said, it's not like we were planning on playing him anyway.
No.
We wanted him to sit on the bench. The only difference is now he's going to be injured on the bench, but it's still, what we wanted. That's exactly what's so okay. Plan really didn't change. We're going to go in with our starters, and it is what it is. I was actually thinking about this morning. There are 3 possible scenarios that could happen from this point on. The first scenario, and probably the most likely scenario, is that Sam Darnold turns into Marcus Mariota when he was on the Falcons. When the Falcons acquired, as I said before, I mentioned earlier, when Marcus Mariota was acquired by the Falcons, he was acquired to be the starter. And he stunk exactly what we thought he was going to be, and they moved on quickly.
Yep.
Or this could turn into a situation like Gardner Minshew. Obviously, last year, the Colts went through something very similar where Anthony Richardson got hurt. Here comes Gardner Minshew. He actually played pretty well. He almost took the Colts to the playoffs. He played well enough, in fact, that a team like the Raiders were willing to give him a multi-year deal to make him a backup/starter. That could happen. It could happen where he plays well enough, but not too good, where he could get some money from another team this offseason, and, they move on with the rookie quarterback. The third scenario, which I don't think is going to happen, is a Brock Purdy scenario, where Sam Darnold just goes completely ballistic, and the Vikings end up making it like to the NFC Championship game, and then you're in a real problem where it's like, okay, we didn't think Sam Darnold was going to be this good. What do we do? Do we trade JJ McCarthy? Do we extend Sam Darnold? What do we do? Those are the 3 scenarios I could see happening. The one I think that's most likely is the first one that I brought up with Marcus Mariota. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be that good. I really don't think that any of that's going to happen. But these are possibilities that you have to think of, because it's like, okay, yes, we agree Sam Darnold was going to go in as a starter regardless. If he is above expectations and we end up making some moves and we have a quarterback controversy with a guy who is regarded as one of the busts of NFL quarterbacks, or a guy that we just traded up for in the draft, we're in a big problem here. This could be a serious problem.
Like a Trey Lance type situation, you could say.
Or Trey Lance. I didn't even mention Trey Lance, right? Exactly.
Is JJ McCarthy Trey Lance? I don't know. And that was a much worse trade in terms of what they gave up the Niners. I think it's interesting. I also agree that the Marcus Mariota situation is likely.
Yeah.
And I think Marcus Mariota, calling him how he played that year, might even be giving him a little bit too much credit. I don't think this Viking team is very good, period, even with JJ McCarthy.
No.
I don't think they're that good. I don't think this is going to be successful, but it is interesting to think about, right? What if Sam Darnold plays well? What if he comes out, he shows out? This is it. Sam Darnold has been given 5 years in the NFL on a platter, 10 years in the NFL on a platter as a career backup, maybe even a starter somewhere. His career is the revitalization of his career is in his hands right now. So we'll see what Sam Darnold can do.
People always forget about those 3 weeks he had with the Panthers where he was like,
he was a hooper.
Remember he was playing like an MVP? I remember that. It lasted only 3 weeks, but he did.
MVP.
I was watching those games. He played very good.
Why did you watch those games?
He was very good.
I did too. I know. I want to see Baker get in. That's why
he was very good.
Yeah, I know. He was good. And then Baker
for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Then it just
then tapered off. Pretty hard.
Yeah, it's sad.
I think the biggest takeaway as well, I don't think we're worried about JJ when it comes to this. McCarthy, not Justin Jefferson.
No, I'm not worried about
Justin Jefferson. I'm worried about JJ in terms of Justin Jefferson, but I think McCarthy will be fine. I think he'll recover nicely, and we'll see how he's got to get on the field. right? He's got to get on the field, and we'll see how he plays. I won't judge the guy until he gets on the field. Then we can base any judgment on what they should do. But yeah, if Sam Darnold plays well, Joel, I think you can trade him. You can trade him.
Probably.
You can trade Sam Darnold, see what you can get for him. But then again, he is Sam Darnold. And that would just be 1 year flash in the pan, right? Did Brock Purdy have a ton of trade value after that? I don't know what that value would really be, because that would mean that Sam Darnold is really good in the Vikings system. Right? He'd kind of have to break the system quarterback notion after that as well, which would be tough. Now here's the thing: I don't think it's going to happen. But the Vikings could be in a pickle quarterback wise. They really could.
I think the Vikings right now, looking at that division, okay, seeing what the Bears did in the offseason, seeing the Packers, what they did last year, looking at the Lions and look what they did. I would just face the facts and say, listen, our season is over before it even started. Okay.
We stink.
We're not gonna be that good.
No.
Okay. Let's look at the positives here. Okay. We gave money to Justin Jefferson. We locked him up. We locked up Christian Darrisaw. Okay. We got the founding pieces of what, we traded up for Dallas Turner. The founding pieces of what we want this team is it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there next year.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out there and we're probably not gonna be that good. No. But let's just try. I'm not saying
let's play the games.
I'm not saying to, TANK. I'm not saying to do that.
No.
But just admit we're not going to be that good. It's probably not going to be our year. And let's just focus on what we can elevate to get better.
Yep.
All we're trying to do now. That's what I think the focus should be. And then once JJ comes back next year, it's like, okay, time to lock back in.
Right. So you just very elaborately told me that the Vikings need to tank, is what you just told me.
I'm not saying that they should tank. I'm saying that methodically here and hypothetically,
right,
they should just look at the pieces that they have, young guys.
Yes, young
give
players.
Them opportunities.
Yes,
see who shines, see who shines, see who doesn't, and then go into the next year with those players plus other assets, and then you get your guys back that was injured and then compete. That's what I think you should do if you catch my drift.
Yes, that's tanking, Joel. That's tanking.
No, I didn't say tanking.
That's tanking. Yes, let's play our young guys instead of our.
I'm focusing on the positives.
But the positives are they're going to have a top 5 draft pick.
If I wanted to tank, I would have started like
Nick Mullins,
Kaimi Fairbairn at quarterback or something. I would have
do it. Let's do it.
Something crazy like that.
Is he even there? Is Kaimi Fairbairn a Viking?
No, he's not. I know he's
bringing that. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't even know. Where did he go? Is he still in the Texans?
He's still in the Texans, I thought.
Still in the Texans. What a dog. Love him. Yes, he is. I was about to say, I missed the Kaimi Fairbairn move this offseason if he left the Texans.
I think Corey Joseph's the kicker for the Vikings.
Oh, yeah. I think they had a kicker battle in camp or something. Those are my favorite. I love kicker battles so much. They're my favorite. Yeah. Kickers are people too. For the brand. But yeah. The Vikings, like you said, their season ended before it started.
It ended.
Will Sam Darnold be the next superstar of the NFL? Will he revive his career and earn a contract somewhere else? Find out next time on Minnesota. This is what I've said about Minnesota. And it's weird because I kind of like where they are, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Right? I like the position they're in because the Packers are going to be good for a while. The Lions are going to be good for a while, at least the next 5 years. The Bears just got Caleb Williams.
They're making an aggressive push, right?
They're going to be really good. If I'm a Vikings fan, or if I'm the Vikings, right, I'm thinking about, putting my team in the best position to win. I don't really want to be that good right now. I don't want to be that middle of the pack team that they probably could be if they really went aggressive and sign players. I would rather, I guess, you're tanking by that's why it's confusing to say tanking, because they're tanking by default, right? If the Vikings were in the NFC South, we'd be talking about them as contenders to make the playoffs.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right.
They're good enough to be a watchable football team, but they're not good enough to compete with anybody in their division. They're in a strong division. So if they just focus on youth, and by the time the Vikings would be good, the Bears will probably still be okay. The Lions will be back to mediocrity. The Packers may not have succeeded the way that we expect them to. And then the Vikings would be that team on the come up. They'd be that Bears. They'd be that, and then eventually be that Lions if they build their team right. But instead of having that happen now, Where you look at Chicago, they got to deal with the Packers. They got to deal with the Lions. Minnesota, maybe they'll get through Caleb Williams soon. And then he'd have a weaker division to go against, so you can make the playoffs and go on a run. So I wouldn't be that. I'm not. If there's a time to be bad, it's now. If you're in the NFC North,
I'd say it's now.
I'd say it's right now. So just to give you a bit of a silver lining when it comes to Minnesota and just their total situation, whether McCarthy was healthy or not, it's not that bad. Dallas Turner,
No,
he's going to be awesome. Let him develop. Let this team go through hardship. They'll be stronger at the end of it.
you should be.
Life lesson for you and us.
There you go.
Here we go. Joel, final thoughts here on this episode of Break Panel Sports.
Tank.
Tank. Tank.
Tank.
It is time. Minnesota, bring out the M1 Abrams. I just tried to be nice to you. Bring out the M1 Abrams.
Tank, but don't tank too hard.
Play some War Thunder, man. Bring out the tank. World of Tanks. Any tanks you can think of. Start researching the ones that were used in World War I and how they developed it into World War II tanks. Just research it. Look into it.
Look into it.
Take that mentality and build your football team. Because war is all about countering. And by tanking and by developing your tank, you counter the other teams in your division.
In the near future.
In the near future, right? Poor Minnesota. I'm sorry. Because here's the thing. I'm giving you a silver lining, and we all know that the Vikings aren't going to develop the way that they probably should.
Right.
Like, I'm saying, oh, yeah, get good in the next 5 years, and then they'll probably still be bad.
They could still be good. You never know.
They could be good. They could be good. Or they could have Christian Ponder. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Christian.
They could have Christian Ponder again. Poor Minnesota, Joel. Poor Minnesota. Maybe one
Minnesota.
day. Maybe one day they'll figure it out. Gary Anderson. I believe that was also in 19. That was around 1995, too, when you talk about the Cowboys.
Oh, I
believe that was 98,
knowledge
though.
of that is.
I believe that was 98. If I get 1998 for the Gary, no, 99. That was when the Falcons made the Super Bowl against John Elway.
Oh my God.
When was the Gary Anderson? It was January 17th, 1999.
You were there. You were right there.
I was right there.
You were right there.
So the Vikings, they will have to take that field goal in 5 years when the other teams aren't as good. Will they make it? Will they make a 39-yard field goal attempt when they have not missed a single field goal the whole season? Will they? Walsh steps up. Missed it.
Oh my God, no, not that guy.
Sorry. I honestly, if you're a Minnesota fan, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Very sad.
Well, Joel, it's been great. It's been a pleasure. Hop on Break Panel Sports and talk some ball and reminisce on the beautiful times of the Minnesota Vikings as well. CD Lamb, all that. Hassan Reddick. Hope Joe Douglas is listening.
And Aiyuk getting his money somewhere.
Getting his money. It's all about money here. It's all about getting your money.
Yeah, get your money.
See. That'll do it for this episode of Break Panel Sports. I've been John, joined alongside Joel. Thank you for taking the time out of your morning, evening, nighttime, breakfast, little cup of tea, whenever you are listening, on the car, in the ride, whatever, in the Uber, whenever you're listening to this. Shout out to you, and thank you so very much for taking the time to listen to two knuckleheads talk some ball. This is Break Panel Sports, and we will see you another time.
Bye-bye.